Hello folks, I've got one sheet of A4 photographic printer paper left and I'm trying to choose a photograph to print. This is the first time that I've been out with my new Olympus XZ1 camera. Just getting a feel for it, trying out some of the various functions. I thought I'd have a go at the Panoramic function and try and photograph Hastings Pier. Okay, here we have a shot of Hastings Pier here. Pretty dull shot if you as shots go. Not bad, but not brilliant. I don't really feel there's any point in taking a photograph from that kind of distance, really. If you can get the whole thing in one shot, it's probably going to mean it's too small. So moving in a wee bit closer, I took that shot. That's not a panoramic shot either. It's a wee bit better. There's less expanse of beach there, but still nothing too inspiring for you. I thought, well, I'll just use my legs and walk, and it was actually quite a long way to walk, really. On the way, I found these rocks. And I thought, yeah, they might make a nice picture. And I thought, oh, how can I brighten that picture up and make it into something a bit more exciting there? So I actually walked onto the rocks, trying it from a crazy angle. That's perhaps another way of doing it. That's quite a nice photograph. It's quite striking. There's a bit of movement in there. I thought, well, can I freeze any of the water moving? So what I did was I put my aperture down to the smallest aperture, which on my camera is f8, and had a wee go at that. There we go. And I actually put the ISO down to the lowest setting, which is 100 ISO. ISO is another remnant from film camera days. You used to be able to get, well, you still can get film which will let more light in. You pay off by extra graininess, but they were measured in ISO values, and the higher the ISO, the darker it could be around you without you needing flash. 100 ISO was probably, you know, the sort of sunny day kind of film, really, and well, sunny day in somewhere unlike Britain where it's never really very sunny. So the sort of standard film over here is 200 ISO, but there you go. So anyway, setting the low ISO would mean that it would have to choose quite a slow shutter speed, and I managed to freeze some of the water here, and I like that picture. I think that's quite a stunning picture. I'm going to give that one, this is Adobe Apple Aperture here. I'm going to give that one 3 stars, I think, because I quite like that picture. It might go on Facebook, how's that? Okay, so then moving along, I decided to take one more. Okay, and with this one I actually got soaking wet feet because the tide was coming in, although I didn't really think it was coming in that much, and I suddenly got swept by a wave, and I actually let out a word at that point. I'm going to give that one 4 points, I think, because I really quite like that one. Certainly my favourite out of my rock pictures that I took there. I just think there's something right about the geometry there. Moving along, I thought those railings have a bit of possibility, and being able to see the houses through the railings might have a bit of a possibility there, and the angle there makes that a wee bit dramatic, but it's nothing exciting, so I thought I'd try the dramatic scene mode. So I tried the dramatic scene mode, and there we go. Quite a nice picture. It's not anything too exciting, and I thought what I would try and do with my film SLR, there was a way of being able to blur out railings and things like that. It was great for taking photographs at the zoo by getting right up close to the railings and then focusing on what was beyond, and you could almost make the any cage bars or railings or anything like that disappear. So I thought I'd try it on manual focus. I couldn't get up very close because I'm really a short arse, and so I couldn't get up close, and I couldn't really figure out how to use the manual focus on my thing, and I was getting wet because it was a rainy day. So I thought, you know, for a game of soldiers, and I took that picture there, which you can see that I haven't really learned how to use the manual focus at all. But even so, I love that photograph. So I'm going to give that one a number 3, I think. There's just something terribly Sturm und Drang about it, and I quite like it, so I'm going to give it a 3 points. Okay, I still haven't got my printable, outable photograph yet. I'll try and sort that out. So here I come, trying to take a panoramic picture of Hastings Pier, and that was my first go. What you have to do, it does it automatically. You take the first picture, then it prompts you to move the camera along, and then it sort of there's a point where you've got to match this target, and then it just takes another photograph automatically, and then you keep moving along, and it can take up to three things. But that was my first attempt at it, and it really didn't work very well, as you can see. I tried to figure out what the problem was, and there I think I was walking with the camera, and it kind of because I couldn't quite hold the camera at the same height each time, it decided to do that. Okay, so moving along, I had another go at it, and I managed to get that. Some Egypt, by the way, managed to burn down Hastings Pier a few years ago. I think they're trying to sort of refurbish it or whatever, but yeah, it's still in a bit of a sorry state. But yeah, it's in an even sorrier state there, I'm afraid. Okay, and I think my problem there, I think you can probably see from the first 2 photographs here, I think my problem there was that I was standing at a sort of angle on a slope on the stones, so I decided to move down to a flatter part of the beach, and I just did it in more or less one swingy movement, and I started at this end here and moved it along this way. Okay, and although this picture isn't quite perfect, you can see the joins if you look. I think that's actually quite a credible attempt at a panoramic shot, especially seeing as I've had this camera for a day and I've never used the panoramic function before. So so yeah, I'm going to give that one 4 points, and that might end up as a picture, a cover photo sort of thing on Facebook. Okay, moving under the pier. Okay, again, that's a reasonable shotish, quite nice geometry sort of thing. We're not quite under the pier yet. We've yet to go under. Okay, I looked up and I saw that photograph, which I absolutely adore. I really like that photograph. I'm not sure. I'll perhaps give that 4 points at the moment. Okay, and then I took another one just to be on the safe side. I'm not really too happy with that. I don't like this diagonal here. It's straighter on that one, and yeah, and what's actually really screaming out at you here is the detail in these bolts and things, because that's wonky. It doesn't quite do it for me, I think. So I'll leave that one. Okay, standing under the pier. Okay, that needs a wee bit of a straighten out, so I'll show you how that works in Aperture. Okay, just click this thing here, pop it on the grid, find somewhere that you could actually think, well, actually that could be straight. Click and hold and drag, and that will straighten the picture out, and it will also automatically crop it for you. So there we go, there's a straight picture of underneath Hastings Pier. It's quite nice. I quite like the very dark tones against the very light tones, and there's a slightly sort of eerie, otherworldly sort of thing about it. I'm not quite too fond of this can sitting there. I thought I'd try a few more. Okay, that's again needs a straighten. which I'll do for you. Woo. And yes, again, that works quite well. I've still got that can there, which I'm not too fond of. I could easily crop it out. I don't like doing too much photo editing, to be honest. I just like to be able to have the photograph right in the camera, I think. And those are the ones really that, for me, really sort of, you know, scream, you know, they're worthy. Okay. Again, that's a similar shot really. I had to set my ISO up quite high for these. I'm not quite sure exactly what ISO I had that one on there. Might have been 400 or 800. Oh, 200. 200 I had that on. Okay, fine. Okay, let's move on. Okay, another 200 with the lens at 24 millimeters. 24 millimeters is probably at about, in 35 millimeter money, it's probably about 85, 90 millimeters. As you can see, I had it on f2.5, shutter speed of 1/125th there. Okay, just straighten that one out. Okay, now for the next shot, in fact really I think it was for this shot as well, I was actually lying on my belly taking that photograph, just lying down on the beach. And I think sometimes, like with my rock picture, you have to suffer a wee bit of hardship, and that one I think looks quite nice actually, so I'm going to give that one 4 points as well. I like that one. Okay, this one, take it or leave it. I don't really want to straighten up yet another shot. Okay, that was with a slightly lower ISO, 160. Turning the camera back to a horizontal viewpoint. And yeah, as you can see, I wasn't really managing very well there. Moving on and moving on. Okay, turning on my back and moving up. This is another photograph which I absolutely adore. I had to set the ISO higher on this one, and as you can see, I still only got a shutter speed. Even at f2.2, I only got a shutter speed of 1/15th of a second there. This is on aperture priority, but I think that that's a lovely photograph. I absolutely adore that photograph, in fact. Whether to give it 5 or not, I don't know. At the moment, I'll give it 4. I'm just doing that, by the way, by just pressing the numbers on my keyboard here. That one, nah. That one, nah. That one, turning the camera back to a horizontal viewpoint, it's okay. I'll give it 3. Okay, as you can see, I'm still only on 1/15th of a second shutter speed here. Okay, someone had decided to leave their clothes on the beach, so under the pier. There were quite a lot of them, really. You wonder what on earth they'd been doing there and why they hadn't actually thought to pick up their clothes. There are quite a lot of cans of beer stewed along underneath the pier, and yeah, I really don't quite know what that was all about, but I took a few shots. I was almost tempted. If I'd had a carrier bag, I might have taken those home and washed them, but but yeah, so that's macro mode there. It's a bit annoying that in the info here you don't actually get the thing that actually tells you that you're using macro mode there, and even when you set the scene modes, it only tells you creative mode. It doesn't, and it doesn't give you the actual creative mode that you used. So that's a bit of a shame. But that's at ISO 800. I've got a 40th of a second there, and it was still telling me to be wary of camera shake. Get that red camera flashing at you. Snooks, hold on. Right, okay, and here's another t-shirt that was left there. Not a fabulous photograph, Not a fabulous photograph, but still interesting nonetheless. And I'll keep it just to remind me of the day, really. There's something quite beautiful about that picture. I think another macro shot here. I've got 160th of a second at f2.5, and it's almost like little seaweedy cups of popcorn there, and I think that's actually really, really nice. I might print that out, actually. I might print that out. I really like it. There's another one there. The white balance hasn't worked quite so well there. I might have to do a wee bit of tweaking with the white balance. I'll just quickly show you how that works in Aperture. Select adjustments, click white balance. Okay, choose a bit that's supposed to be natural grey and go for it. Okay, and if you don't like it, oh, it's set on skin tone. That's a shame. So we'll edit and undo the white balance there, and we'll set the thing for natural grey. Okay, and actually setting it for natural grey has actually worked. So that one or that one, that one or that one. I think this one's a bit sharper, and there's something really beautiful about that one, so that's going to have a 5, I think. Whether it's the one I actually print out, but it's certainly a very worthy candidate for being printed out, so I'm going to go for that one, I think. Moving along, a pipe with water coming out of it. I thought I'd try and freeze the water a bit better than that. That one, it's a little bit sort of indistinct and messy. I'm not really too fond of this muddle around here. Moving back a bit, you can see the water gushing out there. What shutter speed did I have? I had to try and force it to take out. So again, I had to try and force it to have a low shutter speed there. That's 100, that's a 30th of a second at ISO 800. What was that one? A 25th. So I suppose I froze the water a bit better there, but it doesn't quite have the motion of that picture where it kind of lands on top of my little coral popcorn. Yes, I like that picture as well. That can have probably a 4. That one, I tried to stand back a bit. It hasn't quite worked, although there's something nice about the way that sort of, all this area around here, where your eye just sort of wanders around it. It's not entirely sharp. It'll have a 3, I think. This one, I think, is beautiful, again. Again on ISO 800. Why wasn't that one sharp? That was even at a 50th of a second. That one's a slower shutter speed, and it's, to me, looks slightly sharper. Certainly, I like to try and imagine, you know, I know the rule of thirds is a bit sort of overdone, but imagine a noughts and crosses board being drawn on the view screen, and try and get something interesting that's going to, if you imagine the noughts and crosses going down here and here, and then where the lines intersect in the middle, if you can get something interesting there, then it tends to work very well, I think. And because you've got this water coming down from yet another intersection here, landing there, and here where the textures change, I think, again, I think that picture's quite beautiful. Whether or not I'll print it out is another matter entirely, but I'm going to give that a 5 anyway, because I really like that picture. I think that's absolutely cool. Okay, I also, while I was out, I'm a bit nervous about doing this, but I also did some street photography. And yeah, I would like to show you the results of it, but I'm just a bit wary of protecting people's identities and stuff like that. I'm sure that they don't want to find themselves all over YouTube, especially perhaps if they were, you know, bunking off of work or something like that, and, you know, maybe you know, shouldn't have been in the place where they should have been and that sort of thing. So, you know, plus, you know, someone says, oh gosh, I live near you and that's one of my mates sort of thing, then that's a bit embarrassing too. So, what I tried to perfect though was this idea of just firing shots off from the waist level, so that I'm not looking at the screen and I'm just trying to feel for the controls of the camera, so that I've always got my finger hovering near the shutter button. And I know which way that the telephoto lens is going to go. I mean, with my old E500 camera, I got so competent with that, you know, I was, you know, be taking photographs at gigs and that sort of thing, and I knew exactly where to put my thumb to get the controls that I wanted without even looking at it, you know. And if you can do it in the dark, then that is a sign of a good camera that that you know how to handle. And you know, again, it's up to you and the things that you find easy to handle. I'm not necessarily saying that the XZ1 is you know, the camera for you, but you know, if you can learn, you know, how to handle the camera that you have with you know, without looking at it, then that's a good thing. And that's what I was trying to practice today. I did get one or two quite good results there that I was really pleased with, but as I say, I'm not going to show them on YouTube because I don't really think that's fair on people. Alright, out of the pictures that I'm going to print today, I'm going to choose, I think, the one you are looking at now. Okay, this picture is really holding my attention here. There's just something just so serene and calm about it, and I think that's going to find its way into a frame and on one of my walls, I think, because I think that picture is absolutely beautiful. Okay, all right, I will disappear now. Thank you very much for watching.